Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video I will be talking about quarterback Carson Wentz and why I think the disrespect towards him is getting out of hand and why I think he will prove a lot of his haters wrong. So if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content so close to 8,000 subscribers. Please help me get there. Also hit that like button and turn on those notifications so you never miss a video. Now, let's get right into it. Whenever I look at QB rankings from, media analysts or even fans around, the NFL, I'm shocked to see how low Carson Wentz is ranked. And it's like consistently on a lot of these QB rankings from fans and analysts. There's some like, Chris Sims that have him ranked, not super high, but middle of the pack, which is respectable. But there's some of these sites that have him ranked as like the 28th best quarterback in the NFL. And I don't care how, some people say that, the 27 to 7 touchdown to interception ratio is a little bit misleading. And even if it's a little bit misleading, it can't be that, like no quarterback that's throwing, 27 touchdowns and only 7 interceptions can be the 28th ranked quarterback in the NFL behind some of these guys that they're ranked behind. Let's real quick just look. So Carson Wentz on this list, the first list I found, was ranked behind 1. Daniel Jones, Zach Wilson, Davis Mills, Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, Tua, Baker Mayfield, Jimmy Garoppolo, Jameis Winston. Like, I could argue that he's better than Jalen Hurts. I could argue he's better than, for sure, Daniel Jones, Zach Wilson, Davis Mills, Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence. Because this isn't just this isn't a prediction. This is who's the best QB right now, not in 2-3 years. If that's the case, then of course I'll take Trevor Lawrence over some of these guys for sure. You got Jimmy Garoppolo. I would take Wentz over him. Jameis Winston, you could argue either way. Same thing with Mac Jones. I would take Wentz over Jalen Hurts right now. There's no way Wentz should be 28th on this list. I think that's just absolutely ridiculous. Here's another list from Sports Illustrated. He's ranked 29th behind Jared Goff. This list is just terrible. They have Jameis Winston at 27. I don't think he should be that low. Same thing with Jalen Hurts. I think Wentz is better than Hurts, but I also don't think he should be this low. Let's see who else Wentz is behind. He's behind all the young guys, but they're kind of in a different category right here. He's behind Tua, Fitzpatrick, who literally retired and is still on this list somehow. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I don't know how, a company like Sports Illustrated could put out a list this bad behind Baker, Trevor Lawrence, whatever. I mean, these lists just make absolutely no sense. Here's PFF. He is in Tier E with Marcus Mariota, Mitchell Trubisky, and Sam Darnold. That makes zero sense at all. The rest of these guys are nowhere near Carson Wentz at all. It's just ridiculous where some of these guys have him ranked at. I guess the popular thing to do in the NFL nowadays is just hate on Carson Wentz because there's no reason at all he's in the same stratosphere as any of these guys right here, especially Sam Darnold, Marcus Mariota, who hasn't really done anything in 3 years, and Trubisky. It just doesn't make sense. Guys let's go to the tier above. Drew Lock, Tua Tagovailoa, Jalen Hurts, Daniel Jones, those guys are not in the same. I mean, you could say Jalen Hurts maybe is in the same tier as Wentz. I personally would rather have Wentz, but there are some people that really like Hurts more, and I guess you could argue that. But I don't think these other guys like Drew Lock and Daniel Jones. I don't think you can argue those guys are better than Carson Wentz at the moment, because one of the biggest knocks on Carson Wentz is the injury, history, and you got that with Tua up there, especially Daniel Jones and some of the other guys. So you got to be consistent, and yeah, I just do not get it at all. Especially when you look, I know it's stats are a little bit misleading, but still, last year played in all 17 games and played hurt too. He was playing with some sprained ankles for he had 2 sprained ankles at the same time actually, and played with that for a bunch of weeks. He had a 62.4% completion percentage, which isn't amazing, but it's solid. 3,563 yards is all right. 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. That's very good. And then a 94.6 passer rating right there. Got sacked 32 times. So he didn't have an outstanding season, but he had a very, very solid season and had 57 or 57 rushes for 215 yards and 1 touchdown. So, and he had 4 fumbles. I guess that's, 4 lost fumbles. I'm not sure. I'm not completely sure, but like he only turned the ball over around 10 times and, produced 28 touchdowns if you count that rushing touchdown. So like he was very solid. And yes, sure, there was a few times where like he didn't show up in those big moments, and he's got to improve on that. But at the same time, it's not like he was playing with a bunch of all-stars out there, a bunch of Pro Bowlers with the Colts. Like he had Jonathan Taylor, who was the best running back in all of football last year, but the receiving core was awful. Like they had Michael Pittman, who is a beast, low end number 1, high end number 2. And then besides that, T.Y. Hilton, who, is a good veteran, but in and out of the lineup, super old at this point. Paris Campbell is hurt. Like they really had no one last year at all, and he still was able to produce. And then the tight ends really had, some okay guys. Like Mo Alley Cox is like an average, below average tight end. Same thing with, Jack Doyle. So nothing special there. And the offensive line, usually it is good. Last year, though, it wasn't great. I think PFF, ESPN, they ranked him pretty, low during and after the season. And they had some injuries as well. Quentin Nelson was out for a few games at least. They had a bunch of injuries on that line overall. So, I mean, he did pretty well with not a great offense. I think he's coming into a better situation, versus what he had last year to this year. Like, I think Washington's offensive line this year will be better than the Colts' offensive line last year. Like, I think the Colts' offensive line this year will probably be better, but we're comparing what Wentz had last year to this year. I like our receivers this year so much better than the Colts receivers last year. Running backs, they got the best, one of the better running backs in the NFL. So, I mean, I can't really argue that. Like, maybe we have better depth, but they still had Hines last year. So, like, I still think they had the better running back core. I think tight end, if Logan Thomas is good, I think we have the better tight end room. So, like, overall, I think we have the much better offense than the Colts did last year. And I think, Carson Wentz will be a lot better. And the disrespect is insane. Like, you see this right here. Sorry, it's loading, but this stat, most years with 20-plus passing touchdowns and fewer than 10 interceptions over the last 5 seasons. And Wentz has 4 of those seasons in the last 5. So, like, people are saying he only had one good year in 2017. That isn't true. 2020 was awful. Like, he was legit horrendous in 2020. But before that, 2019, he played really, really well. 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Like, if you watched, he was carrying the Eagles that year on his back. They had no one really at the receiver position. 64% completion percentage, over 4,000 yards. Year before, he was solid. Nothing special, but he was solid. 2017 was amazing, but again, in 2018 he missed like 5 games, so that's why the numbers are a little bit lower. But honestly, if you look at it, he was actually very good in 2018. 70% completion percentage, 102.2 pass rating, and a 3-to-1 touchdown and interception ratio. But he missed 5 games, and that's one of the bigger knocks on him. But I don't like. I'm not upset if someone ranks him like 20 or like 18 or something like that, because I think he's around that range. Like, I would put him like this list by Chris Sims, where he has Carson Wentz as a 19th ranked quarterback. Like, I would have him a little bit higher than some of these guys right here, but like, I'm not going to be super upset about that. But where he was in those other lists, where he's 28th, 29th in the same tier as, Mitch Trubisky and Sam Darnold, that's when I'm like, okay, this is a little bit ridiculous. But like, a lot of these guys, you definitely have to argue, like, is he better than Mac Jones? Maybe a little bit. Baker, I think last year he was better than Baker, but Baker was playing hurt, so who knows what he does this year with the Panthers. And then Kirk Cousins, like, I think Kirk Cousins is better than Wentz. Like, the last few years, he's been better than Wentz. We'll see this year. Ryan Tannehill, same thing. So, like, I think that, in that, let's say 16 to 22 range, like, I won't really be upset if he's ranked there, because he's like around an average quarterback. Sometimes he's above average and sometimes he's below average, but where he was like 28th, no, that's just completely disrespectful. And yeah, he should not be anywhere below 25 on any of these lists. It's just ridiculous. So let me know what you guys think. I just want to make this video because I saw so much disrespect towards Wentz, and it wasn't just like the media analysts, it was fans as well saying he's terrible. Like, I saw, like, I think it was like when Terry got extended, and I think it was yesterday when they posted like the videos of, about him in the press conference. There was a guy like, I love Terry, but he's not going to be able to produce with, Carson Wentz at his QB. And I'm like, have you seen the QBs we've had the last 3 years, 4 years? Like, Carson Wentz is so much better than what we've had the last few years. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace.